Hello there everybody, this is Demo64 and this is a bit of a weird video. Recently, and by recently I mean today, as the time of recording this, I've stumbled upon my cancelled Sage 2022 review that I didn't release and finish because of the imposter syndrome. I didn't think it was worth it, I didn't think that anybody would watch those videos. Um, it was planned to be a part, like episodic series with volumes, and this was volume 2, planned to be volume 2. And I decided to release this video anyway because, well, for preservation purposes, because some reviews that I did, some fan games that I did reviews for, were wiped from the forums that I was writing reviews on. So this video is kind of like for preservation or some sort. The video itself is not that great, it's just me reading my reviews that I've written in the forums, so basically a video version of those reviews. But yeah, besides that, not gonna waste your time. If you want to watch this, go ahead. If you're not interested, I'm not stopping you from leaving. And that's pretty much it. Sit back, relax. Thank you for watching in advance, and on with the video. Sonic Amateur Games Expo, or Sage for short. Boy, what a treat to have! I've been following this expo since I was a kid, starting from the year 2012, and in short, I loved every year that was available. However, as of recent years, as more and more developers took interest in this expo, it became more and more all over the places. Some games were amazing, some were straight up surprising to see even published or submitted to Sage. Like, maybe this will be a controversial opinion, I can understand this being a fan project so the word amateur doesn't lie, but sometimes maybe it's too early to publish a project to show on an expo. I'm getting sidetracked, however, just a heads up. So, what's the point of this video? The title says it all. I'm on a mission to play as many demos from each stage as I can before forgetting all about it, so I became serious this time. And this is the third attempt. I tried something like this with 2016 and 2018 years, but I just felt that making a full-on review on demos is a bit too much work for me. So now I've decided to write my reviews on submissions in Sonic Fan Games HQ, and when I was done with a lot of them, I thought, why not make a video version of those reviews? So those reviews of mine won't be lost to time and I can probably get more recognition this way. This will eventually be just me reading my review that I posted, but with video footage in front of your eyes to see what I'm talking about. If you don't want to watch the full video, you can just read my reviews for each game by looking for a page of the game itself, using timecodes in the description as a reference of what game I reviewed. Maybe you don't want to waste your time, which is fair, or you're a developer that didn't check if I posted a review to your game. Why should you care about my video? Maybe you can use this video as a shortcut on which games you should play, or maybe you're interested in other people's point of view. That's on you to decide. This is also a volume 1 of the video, as reading my reviews for all of the games will extend this video to an hour if not more. And lastly, not all of the games will be featured when I'll finish those videos. The reason is because either I'm not interested in them, Mega Man and fighting genre of games in particular, as I'm not a fighting genre guy and I don't like Mega Man by just looking at his games, so those are out of the question. Either those games are too heavy on my hardware or unoptimized for it, or just because they don't work and are not fixed in time of making this video. And this will be in order of how early I reviewed each game, so completely random for you. Alright, that was a lot to unpack and I apologize for that, but I couldn't have done this any other way. And with all of that uncovered, let's finally get into the games. Our first game on the list is another Sonic 2 remake, the title of which is a nod to another fan game called Another Metroid 2 Remake. The game is a very good reimagining of Sonic 2 on Game Gear. First, the level design. It's decent, having a good balance between challenging and entertaining tracks and loops. However, it's too different from being called a remake. Like, isn't the remake's purpose to recreate the game in the fresh coat of paint, but also to maintain the original game's feel? I would suggest to name it Sonic 2 Reimagined or Sonic 2 Remixed, but the creator replied to me and said that they will keep this name anyway, so okay, can't really complain then. Second, the hand-drawn sprites. They're not bad, but can cause a clash because on one hand you have Sonic's and background sprites, which are hand-drawn, while the level itself is pixelated. Also, they can be inconsistent, for example, Sonic becomes bigger when he gets hit. Third, the levels can drag for too long, taking on a range of 4 to 12 minutes. The Aqua Lake Act 1 took me the whole 12 minutes on first try, which I guess is not intentional, since it has even caused the timer to count like it's from 1 minute. It's something I don't like in the classic Sonic game, because it makes me feel burnt out, which I did playing this demo. I guess it won't be fixed, since the level design is already established and getting rid of it for the sake of being shorter would be a waste, but still worth a mention. Fourth, the bosses. Ooh, the bosses. They are questionable at best. The Underground Act 1 boss doesn't have something called the laws of physics, since this boss shouldn't just jump on the hill that goes up just because Sonic is there. The Act 2 boss doesn't tell the player what to do. I was lucky enough to spin this just because I wanted to, but I can see this boss being confusing for other players. Sky High Act 1 boss was fine, Act 2 boss was not finished for this demo, Aqua Lake Act 1 boss was too easy, and Act 2 boss was just ass. I was so confused, why didn't he pull up his ball after he bounced under me? He was just standing there, waiting to bounce on again, and repeat the same process till I died because I fell in the water. I was about to rage quit, but fortunately for me, I was able to cheese this boss fight by just moving my camera so he would be on the corner of the screen, and only then he pulled up his balls. Now, the creator has apologized for this, as this zone's bosses were made a month before the Expo, and might have been not tested properly. But I don't think this was a good thing to put while it's unfinished. It would be better to just make a disclaimer like they did for Sky High Act 2 boss. Maybe they wanted feedback, but this is not a good excuse considering how unplayable Act 2's boss is. Okay, now the fifth on my initial review was a personal preference. I was not a fan of some remixes that were chosen. However, after replaying for recorded footage, I think they're actually alright. And finally, the bugs. They were there from time to time. To be honest, I can't recall what I encountered, since I can't remember anymore. And I'm sorry, but I'm not analyzing 55 minutes of my footage just for some small clips. Anyway, it's a hit and miss fan game for me right now, so it gets 3 out of 5. I'm glad the creator has read and liked this review, and I hope they will improve using it for notes. Play it, it's definitely worth your time. On to the next game. Okay, this one is... I don't know if I should read now, since I've written what I think about this game and people just bash me on repeating the same format, but saying that my review was pointless. And judging by the creator's reaction of the other review, I assume he thinks I've insulted this game. Anyway, this is Sonic Rerun, a test of a framework using the existing stages from the official Sonic games to see how it goes. At least I think that was the initial idea. You can see this being a test all around. There is no sound, the scale of Sonic is smaller than needed, no enemies, you die where you're not supposed to, yada yada yada. As the creator has said, the fan game is scrapped anyway, so now there is no point to give proper feedback. I'm sure it will improve in the future with time and hard work, but I was harsh on this and gave it a 1 out of 5 just because stuff like this shouldn't be presented in the Expo. At least in my opinion. We can only wait and see what this framework will be capable of in the future. But now that's all that was needed to be said. Next game. Up next is Sonic Stage Collection. I don't know what to say positive about this. I guess it's in a collection of stages. all of which right now are just stages from Sonic 06, since other stages such as Apollo's Act 2, Egg Gate, Speed Highway and more were removed. Which is a bummer, because those stages would be more interesting to play, as maybe those would fit the engine more than Sonic 06 stages, because this engine is based on Boost's gameplay initially. And what did the creator do for the stages that are available right now? Remove the boost. Genius. Sorry, I'm being rude for a friend project, but this decision just doesn't make sense to me. What also doesn't make sense to me is why I use Dash engine for this. I'm sorry, I'm not liking this engine right now, and this fan game is my proof why. It's not fun to control, and there are a lot of issues with it, but my experience with it in this fan game? Okay, here are my nitpicks I got for this fan game as well as the engine itself. The interface can be bugged, making the options not go away while in gameplay, unless restarting the level. The camera is too zoomed in, at least give an option to zoom out so more can be seen. Sonic can walk on water. Sometimes when Sonic gets hit, his animations become bugged, making him stand for every action. The workaround is to crouch. Some rails don't work properly and cause Sonic to fall. If you get hit and fall in the water, Sonic won't die. You can even jump out without any problem. Sand in Dusty Desert doesn't kill you, making the challenge non-existent. White Acropolis has no bottomless pit, maybe only at the end. Why give the ability to turn super without any requirements? It just makes the super form unrewarding. Lag cannot be friendly. It caused me to fly far off at the start of Flame Coral, right after the first dash panel. The rising lava spots make the FPS tank. If Flame Core has its second act, why doesn't Crazy City have its third act? Is it intentional to spawn me in Knuckles section in second act of Flame Core? Can run up walls in Kingdom Valley? Oh wait, I was just lucky that time. After all of this, I give this 2 out of 5. Very rough, messy and questionable. It just made me want to play Sonic 06 more, which is not as bad as you might think, because I kinda like Sonic 06. The creator just gave my review likes, so at least he have seen it. Maybe I will give the next demo another shot. Maybe. I cannot do the constructive review of this, to be honest. I didn't like this demo, because first, there is no purpose for it, as the original game exists, and this fan remake doesn't improve anything upon it, unless you wanted to make boost gameplay out of it, which didn't feel great either. Second, the frame rate is really flawed. Sometimes it goes up to 60 FPS, other times it tanks down to 1. I guess it's because you have placed too much grass, which is too heavy for the hardware. I use GTX 750 Ti for reference. And also because the original game has also 2 big stages for the engine to handle, hence why I get 1 FPS in some places before going back to 60. And yet it also uses Dash engine with the boost gameplay this time. My opinion is not changed, I still don't like this engine. 2 out of 5. Now, this demo was not accessible to me in the start of stage because it was unoptimized. Now this is resolved and the game runs fine now. However, I was still able to play it while it was still getting updated through a borrowed PC from a person I know, who was kind enough to let me use it even despite our personal problems, so thank you again for that, as I'm sure you're watching this. So, for the demo itself, the level in particular, it's not bad, but also nothing special. The creator has stated that he wanted this level to be a throwback to the very old, unfortunately unreleased fan game Sonic GL. The problem is, this fan game was impressive for its time. On the other hand, this fan game is made on Infinity Engine, which makes this level feel empty. I guess if the full game comes out, this level would be a good fit as a tutorial level of sorts. But for a demo, which is supposed to show what your fan game will play and look like, yeah, not a good choice. I gave it 3 out of 5. As it deserves. For this review, I kept it brief. An impressive feat for the DS of all platforms, however I'm not sure if it will go further than just a tech demo. Everything here is too early to judge. Still deserves a solid 3 out of 5 just for the effort alone. I told you I kept it brief. Haven't played the first demo, so I don't know how it turned out, but for this one, I liked how it looked, Really, this aesthetic and choice for models is a nice touch. However, the combat feels kind of janky, if that's the right word. Requires time to get used to. For aiming the enemies, I'd suggest making a pointer, like in Sky Chase Sonic Adventure's stages. When you aim at the target and the target stays, because right now it's hard to keep track on both where you're pointing and the arrows aligning on the enemy. I was also not a fan of the camera, should zoom it out more probably. And please, make the right stick camera faster or the option to do that, because it felt like a shooter always waiting for it to move where I want. My rating here is also 3 out of 5. Truly, it's somewhere in the middle. Can't say this demo was necessary. The demo's point is to show what the game will be like in the final release, or at least close to it. This demo only consists of surfing, which is clearly not what the whole game will be like. And it's too long too. The creator answered saying the goal was to gain attention for the project, and I guess it was achieved here, but I think that most people probably won't read the description, which states what the main purpose of this game actually is, which is competition mode stages turned into full zones. I'm sure this game would gain more attention if this demo wasn't as misleading, but can't really argue if that's how the creator chose to show his fan game. Give it 3 out of 5, just because I'd love to see this idea become fully realized. Next game. Alright, so when I was first playing this, I played the first version and my review was outdated. If not for this video, then I wouldn't have even noticed the update that came out to this demo. Now I just like what this demo tries to do, giving Sonic a sorta slow, collective-fun look with multiple objectives. The refined controls in the update also feel nice too. So because I can kinda see what the gameplay tries to achieve, now my rating has been rising up from 2 to 3 out of 5. On Sage 2021, I was not able to fully experience the previous demo because of optimization issues. Now after it has been optimized after a year, I can proudly say, I enjoyed the game, really did. It feels like a spiritual successor to Sonic GT, which is a good thing. The level design is good, the idea behind the circuit stages in a 3D environment is very exciting, the characters feel great to control, music selection is also nice. However, as always, there will be some caveats such as: first, Sonic needs to be buffed. His spin dash is pointless because it has next to no speed and general running feels too slow for huge stages like this. I can't even jump from A to B because of this. Please make it faster in the next version. Second is kind of a personal take, but Mystic Cave feels too narrow in comparison to other stages. Third is that the Aqua Lake Act 1 boss isn't finished, it just stayed there and I attacked it. And fourth, sometimes Ice Cap 2 required too much of a pinpoint accurate jumping between platforms. Perhaps make it easier next time, but those are just some minor issues. The fan game looks really promising and I can't wait for the finished product. Easily 5 out of 5 from me. I actually thought this was a fairly unpopular opinion, but after hearing and reading what others think, glad I'm not the only one. I didn't enjoy the core gameplay here. It feels like you have too much to learn and not in a good way. Forcing you to complete a long-ass tutorial was brutal. I felt burned out already after finishing it because of how much it forced me to complete certain segments with Sonic's features that felt unneeded, and I'm not even gonna play it again for the footage. Sonic also feels too heavy to turn around. The idea itself that you have to learn that much to be good in this game is not a good game design by itself. I like the game's art style and music choice though, but that's not enough, so this is a 2 out of 5 from me. I like what this fan game tries to do, like an alternate take on Sonic Lost World that doesn't feel too scripted. The core physics are here, except for Sonic walking on water of course, and I think the idea of running on walls by freedom is an interesting concept that can be a good mechanic if used properly in stages. But the test stage wasn't that great to control in. I wish I could play with the controller though, because it didn't work. Sadly, there's nothing else I can add, besides mentioning how the creator replied, saying that they plan a lot to add and make an open world for things to do, which means we'll just have to wait and see how this will turn out. 3 out of 5. First of all, great job at doing this for the Saturn. I suppose it's a miracle that the creator has managed to do this because of how poor the throw distance is. Like, I can barely see where I'm going. As for the gameplay, it's just okay. I've definitely noticed that this demo is not very far off in development, as you can't be killed by enemies or bottomless pits at all, can't pick out keys, oh wait, you actually can. Some stages require you to cheese through because they're not finished, at the start of Crystal Frost for example, where the road is absent, and the world relation barely works. Boss battle also feels rough and stupidly hard. Besides all of that, I'd suggest changing the sound effects from the modern and Dreamcast eras as they feel out of place. Anyway, nothing else to say, impressive all around. We'll be waiting for the finished product. 3 out of 5 for the demo itself though. I don't really understand the point of this project to be honest, as why have a one-to-one recreation of the game if we have 2013 remaster? Widescreen? We already have a patch for the ROM and custom version of the emulator. I would understand if it was made to show off what the Urbanaut framework from the same creator is capable of, but no. Besides that though, yeah, it's as faithful as you can get if we're not counting the speed caps that nobody liked. If you also want to get more faithful, the spinning spike balls in Spring Yard are not fast enough in some places. And that's pretty much it. Good, yet unnecessary attempt at recreating Sonic 1. 4 out of 5. Okay, this is a game about Uganda Knuckles. The meme is pretty much dead, but it stayed longer in the Russian part of the world, so I'm not amused by the fact that the creator themselves is Russian. That aside, the fan game idea is neat. Kinda hard though, because it requires a really quick reaction or strategy, which I didn't have while playing this, so I won because I was lucky. The only thing I hope will be improved is background. Looks too basic. Nothing major I can add. 4 out of 5 for this. Now this is a very great experience all around in the demo. I have no major complaints, only that sometimes the start dash seems to not work. I guess I misunderstood its use. I thought of it as a simple jump dash that hacks tend to add. Okay, actually I misunderstood this. This is actually not just a jump dash, you have to charge it before using it. Yeah. This fan game also reminds me of 2010's era of fan games, and also stylishly looks like Sonic XG, which is a good thing. Loud design is good, bosses are impressive, music is just okay, everything is cool. Definitely will be waiting for this fan game's completion. 5 out of 5. As for this though, shouldn't have released this demo to stage in this state, to be honest. The gameplay is very rough, can't even attack enemies. Sound mixing, rings in particular, is bad. The 3D textures are not a good pick for a 2D game, feels like a clash. Can't speak positively about this right now. However, maybe something can make a huge turn out of this. For now, it's just 1 out of 5. This fan game tries to feel and look like Donkey Kong Country games, and I can see that in the demo. To be honest, it's not hard to mimic DKC anyway. The creator has stated that it's in very early stage, so there's already no need for me to try being constructive. The only two things I pointed out were already noticed by the creator, but to sum it up, it's performance issue, which confuses them, and the twirl mechanic, which is being worked on. I still think it's fair to give this only 2 out of 5, because the demo is too short and too basic to really give an opinion on. Here's hoping this will go further in development. Oh, now this is a great one. Sonic Robo Blast from the past, really rolls off my tongue, is a perfect way to experience SRB1 and SRB2's TGI version in all its glory, minus the unbearable and uncomfortable gameplay from the originals. This feels great to play and I want to see this project finished as soon as possible. Some minor nitpicks though. Maybe make the movement when you pick up bubbles more noticeable, as it's not convenient to notice only by sound cues. A nice spell as the Eggman boss can make you get hit after you hit him, but will still be in his hitbox after bouncing. Also, was it really necessary to recreate the useless ring loss? Perhaps make it like the classics as quality of life improvement. Besides that, this is an awesome recreation, unlike another remake by Snick which only has its own in the name from the original SRB1. 5 out of 5. Can't wait for the finished release. Can't say much here. Impressive to have a fan project for Saturn with a custom engine. For now it looks basic and rough. Rough as in Sonic doesn't even have slow physics. But it'll be interesting to see how it will evolve. Hope this project won't get cancelled though. 3 out of 5 for the effort. No joke, this is the only finished game in this video. It's also the last one we'll be taking a look at for now. And it's not meant to be taken seriously, so I will be short. This is a Crash Bandicoot fan game. The gameplay is nice enough to enjoy, however the hitboxes for enemies are unfair, so this is next to impossible to complete without dying. Anything other than that? Well, the idea is kind of funny, I guess. I don't know. This deserves a rating in the middle. Yep, this, if you're wondering, is a game after which I got myself thinking about making a video. Hope you enjoyed it. Maybe it was interesting to look from my point of view. Okay, I know that I was harsh for some games that were made by passionate fans with maybe not enough skills to make a cake out of the game with the cherry on top, and I should be grateful those games are getting for free in the first place. But I think this feedback is deserved. Harsh or not, it needs to be said anyway. Yes, I know programming is hard, having a knowledge on how to achieve at least a good level design is also very, very tough, but those people are learning. We can call that something that they made on their free time not good, and that's okay, because in the end of the day, they will learn from criticism or their own mistakes, and will do even better. My video is probably a mess too, but I did this just for fun, like the creators of those little projects, which is all that matters. I'm still interested in what you think about this video, by the way. This might be my first attempt of return to this channel after 4 years of nothing, but I'm not sure if I'll continue doing this stuff. Until this happens, consider this video like a test project for me and you to see what I'm capable of. Thanks to all the creators of fan games mentioned in this video, and also huge thanks to organizers of Sage for still keeping it around to this day. Okay, that's all the time I've got. I gotta get back to playing more Sonic Orbalest 2 on my personal computer.